All right, everybody. Welcome to another live stream. I'm your host, Moshe the Commentator. I'm going to touch base on this topic that's been circulating the internet for the last few days. If you go on YouTube, Instagram, or any social media platform, there's been a talk between content creators, everybody. I never thought this topic was going to get this big. Who do you think going to win? 100 men versus a gorilla? I'm talking about a silverback gorilla, a strong male silverback gorilla versus 100 average men, not men that's built like warriors. I'm talking about regular, everyday Joes that work 9 to 5s, everyday men that you see, family men. 100 men versus a silverback gorilla. Who will win? There's been a debate. People have been getting into debates, full panel discussions about this on certain channels on YouTube. I just never thought this was going to circulate this much. All over YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, all over social media, people was discussing this. So I said, I might as well put my 2 cents about it. But I'm going to go ahead and share my thoughts about it and stuff. So y'all just hang tight. Hope y'all enjoy it. I'm going to break it down to the best of my ability. So here we go. 100 men versus a silverback gorilla. Who wins and why? What happens when raw human numbers meet primal power? Imagine 100 men, unarmed, average civilians, thrown into an arena with a silverback gorilla, a single silverback gorilla. Who walks out? Interesting. You see, 100 men, unarmed, average civilians. I'm talking about just regular men, not military men, just regular men, thrown into an arena with a single silverback gorilla. Who walks out? Do the numbers prevail, or does nature remind us who's still king of brute force? This is 100 men versus a silverback gorilla, and the answer might surprise you. Part 1. The silverback gorilla, nature's powerhouse. Let's talk facts. A male silverback gorilla weighs between 350 to 500 pounds of pure muscle. That is true. They have zero body fat, and they got they got a small percentage of body fat. Apes, all apes is pure muscle. They are very strong. Especially gorillas are the great apes. You got the gorilla, the orangutans, chimpanzees, and bonobo apes. That's the 4 great apes. So let's continue. Standing upright, it can reach 5.5 to 6 feet tall, but it usually moves on all fours with the strength of a forklift in its limbs. Y'all heard that? Got the strength of a forklift in its limbs. So it has that strength. It could throw an average man like a rag doll, like it's nut. Bite force, over 1,300 PSI. That's stronger than a lion. Wow. The bite force of a gorilla is stronger than a lion. And we know we was taught that the lion is the king of the jungle. But a gorilla got a stronger bite force than a lion. Over 1,300 PSI. That's stronger than a lion. Wow. Strength. It could lift over 1,800 pounds. I'm sure it could probably lift more than that. I'm sure it could probably lift almost close to 2,000 pounds. Now we know 2,000 pounds, that's 1 ton. Yeah, 2,000 pounds, that equals 1 ton. Speed, it could run 20 miles per hour in short bursts. In its world, the silverback is the tank, the general, and the executioner, all rolled into one. Wow. So we know the silverback gorilla is a powerhouse, indeed. Super strength, endurance. It's a tank, man. It's basically a tank. And we know if an average man was to punch a gorilla, that gorilla probably ain't gonna feel nothing. That gorilla gonna easily grab that man's arm and rip him apart. So we know that. But let's continue the topic. Part 2. The 100 men. Numbers are a nuisance. Now let's consider the 100 men. Let's assume they average adult males, not soldiers, not athletes. So you see, these men gonna be average Joes. They not soldiers or athletes. They just regular men, average men. Just your everyday office workers, delivery drivers, baristas, male baristas. Wow. When you think of a barista, you think of a female. Anyway, I digress. And mechanics, individually, they have no weapons, no training. So that's the key thing right there. They have no weapons, no training, just regular guys, just regular everyday average Joes that work 9 to 5s, or even if they have good jobs, doctors, lawyers, mechanics, engineers, McDonald's workers, Burger King, it doesn't matter. They say average men, not soldiers or athletes. But together, they have one thing, numbers. That's true. They got the numbers, but that don't mean nothing. Let's continue. 100 people sound like a lot, right? But here's the issue. People are ants. They don't act as one. That is true. They don't act as one. And in a fight or a panic, most people freeze, flee, or flinch. That's true. In a fight or a panic, most people freeze, flee, or flinch. It's called a fight or flight technique. Like if you in the wilderness and you come across a wild animal, you're gonna your body gonna automatically enter into that fight or flight mode. And most people, they gonna flight because they see the wild animal and they might feel threatened, so they're gonna try to take. Now if they have a weapon with them, like it was a hunter, but in this scenario, the men ain't gonna have no weapon. It's just they just gonna have to use their fists and feet to fight this gorilla. But let's continue. It says, but here's the issue. People aren't ants. They don't act as one. In a fight or a panic, most people freeze, flee, or flinch. You need coordination to take down a beast. What you get instead is likely chaos. That is true. Because let's say, I'm envisioning a scenario right now in my mind. Most men gonna be afraid to take the first charge or the first step. And all it takes is the gorilla to make an example out of a few of them. And they go, next thing you know, the men, they gonna start running. They're gonna start running for their lives. It's no different when you go to a rodeo and see when a bull start bucking and getting loose. When a bull start bucking, them rodeo clowns really be scared. Some of them rodeo clowns, man, they jump in the barrels. They jump in the barrels, So in this situation, the men, they gonna try to run out the arena. Exactly. You will get chaos. It will be chaos indeed. But all right, part 3, arena combat, the reality check. Let's visualize the fight. An open arena, no weapons, just 100 men in a loose circle, and a 450-pound gorilla in the center. The first man who steps forward, crush. No doubt about it. If one man steps forward against a gorilla and challenge the gorilla into single combat one-on-one, he will get demolished. He will get mollywopped. He will get folded like a lawn chair. It's no contest, one-on-one. One man make the first charge, he gonna be the sacrifice. He gonna be the scapegoat. It's common sense. It's no contest against a 450-pound silverback gorilla. And we know with the bite force of 1,300 PSI, that's stronger than a lion. And strength, super strength, come on now. He will be the sacrificial lamb, no doubt about it. The first man who steps forward is crushed, exactly. The next few torn apart in seconds, exactly. He gonna tear apart. He gonna tear a few of the men apart. Even 10 men rushing together will likely fall. Too slow, too hesitant, and not nearly strong enough to restrain a flailing 900-pound grip of strength. 900-pound grip of strength. It say even 10 men rushing together, even if 10 men was to rush together, will likely fail. No doubt about it. It will take a coordinated effort. Maybe a coordinated effort, maybe 30 to 40 men simultaneously swarming, holding limbs, piling on. They go after try to rat pack the gorilla, doggy pile on them or something. That might not even work because you know the gorilla gonna go into a rage and he gonna start going wild. Yeah, because you know some of the men they gonna start and be fearful and they gonna let go. You know, let's see though. But without strategy or communication, the gorilla will thrash through like a wrecking ball in a Lego city. Damn. Fear would spread. Some would run. Exactly. Many will hesitate. Let's keep it real. Most men will hesitate. I don't care if it's 100 men against a gorilla. Most men will hesitate, especially if it's black men. If it's a bunch of Negroes, 100 Negroes versus one man, most of them Negroes, they ain't fighting them. Man, I ain't fighting that gorilla. Man, most brothers, they gonna leave, and I don't blame them. Brothers in the hood don't mess with the pit bulls, the angry pit bulls or Rockwallers in the hood. We know we was taught not to mess with the angry neighbor's dog. Y'all grew up in the hood. Anybody that grew up in the hood know they always had that one mean dog we didn't mess with. You know, or we try to avoid a certain block, or like if we was in a neighborhood, we try to avoid that certain yard with the fence because we know that they had a mean dog behind that fence. Yeah, y'all know what I'm talking about. You know, like when we used to walk home from school, like when I was in middle school, I used to walk home from my middle school to my grandmother's house sometimes. And I would avoid the streets that I know they had mean dogs on. You know, I would always watch my surroundings, when I came across people's fences in their house to make sure. And if they had a beware of dog sign, I knew to keep close away. I knew to keep away. That's what the beware of dog sign was for. Come on now. Now we talking about, this is a gorilla. This is way different than a dog. We talking about a gorilla, a silverback gorilla. You know, they say even 30 or 40 men gonna struggle with it. Fear will spread, some will run. Exactly, that's human nature. The fight or flight. Most men will go into the flight mode instead of the fight mode. And at the moment of indecision, that's when the gorilla wins. Exactly. Once chaos breaks loose, the gorilla wins, hands down. Hands down, the gorilla wins. But let's continue. Part 4. Could 100 men win? Could they theoretically win? Yes, but at a devastating cost. If the group had perfect coordination, like a tactical strike team, they could eventually overwhelm the gorilla with sheer body weight, possibly suffocating it or immobilizing it over time. Exactly. They'd have to all pile up on a gorilla, subdue him. One man are probably trying to cut off his breathing, pluck his eyes out, go for the eyes, go like for the soft spots on the gorilla body. You know, they would have to fight unfair, you know, even go for the groin, go for the throat. Like, you know, a group of men will all pile up, like a few of them there start choke out the gorilla. Yeah, they could overpower him, but it's gonna be a brutal battle. It's gonna be a savage, brutal battle, and a lot of men will die. Let's just keep it a buck. Okay, let's see. But the casualty count, 50 to 70 dead or severely maimed. And that's a lot yet. Half, 100 men versus one gorilla, say 50 to 70 dead or severely maimed. It's going to be more than that. It all depend on the gorilla. It all depend on the scenario. It's going to be more than that. In my opinion, it'll be more than that. It say 50 to 70 dead or severely maimed. It will be a fight. It will be a massacre followed by a desperate dog pile. Exactly. It's going to be a desperate dog pile. And even that might not work. It all depends. Part 5. This isn't just about man versus beast. It's about ego versus reality. Exactly. Now we know it was a group of mixed men, like black men and white men. Is 100 men of all nationalities. We already know them white boys. They're gonna try to fight that gorilla because they got big egos. They think they could hunt anything. They think even though the Most High made man to rule over the animal kingdom, which is true, that's biblical. When the Most High created Adam, the original man, a melanated man, Adam, he told Adam to rule over, that man was going to rule over beasts. But what did the Most High give the animal kingdom? The Most High gave the animal kingdom special abilities, superpowers. When you think about the animals like birds, predatory animals, even the herbivore animals like deer, And rabbits, they got super speed. They run fast. Elephants, they like walking tanks. They got super strength. A cheetah, speed, agility, reflexes. Just a regular household cat. Just a regular domesticated cat. Y'all be seeing how them cats got quick reflexes. Them cats, man, when they swing their paw, I mean, it's like, it kind of remind you of a boxer when they swing their paws, a cat. Like a domesticated cat. But yeah, that's what it's going to be about, ego versus reality, a man's ego versus reality. Humans have conquered the world, not because of physical strength, because of tools, language, and strategy. Exactly. And like the guns, but in this scenario, they don't have no weapons. That's the only way. Because, you had people online saying, well, in the prehistoric times, man used to hunt mammoths. Like the woolly mammoths in the prehistoric creatures. Yeah, that's true. But a lot of them died too. A lot of them got killed. And you got to think about it. That was different times. The men back then, they was probably could have been more strong because it was primal energy. It was primal testosterone. That was the primal times. They didn't had all that processed food. They was living off. They was harnessing that natural primal energy. But even though they could have harnessed that primal energy, they still was getting killed by these prehistoric creatures. Because you got to think about a woolly mammoth. A woolly mammoth is way bigger than the African elephant. Way bigger. And you don't think some of the hunters probably got trampled over? Yes, they did. And they say humans had conquered the world, not because of physical strength, because of tools, language, and strategy. Strip those away, and nature humbles us. Exactly. That is true. Take away the guns, take away the weapons, take away the spears and swords. Man, nature will humble us indeed. Nature will humble us. It's no contest. The silverback isn't just strong. It's a reminder that power in its rawest form doesn't care how many are watching. It doesn't negotiate. It dominates. So who wins? In theory, the men. In reality, the silverback. And maybe that's the way it should be. Now, it all depends on scenario. Some people say the 100 men could beat the gorilla. Some say the gorilla gonna win. But in my opinion, I think the gorilla gonna win due to all he gotta do is make an example of a few of the men, and they gonna run in fear. Because they ain't gonna want to die. Because let's keep it real. They ain't gonna want to get ripped apart. All it takes is that gorilla to rip a few of them men apart, see all that gore and all the stuff that's going on. It's good, Naomi. Peace and blessings. Yeah. All it takes is the blood and gore from the gorilla tearing those men apart, and it's over. It's gonna be over. So you got men saying, "Oh man, 100 men could beat the gorilla." That's their opinion, but in my opinion, nah. He gonna make a few examples of those guys, and they gonna run for their life. That's just human nature. Fight or flight. We see, like I said, like at the rodeos, when them bulls go buck wild. Them rodeo clowns, man, they don't want no smoke with a ranged bull. So they talking about 100 men versus one gorilla. Shit, it's ain't gonna be nothing pretty. Because like I said, it's gonna be a lot of men hesitating. That's human nature. No matter what their nationality is, it's gonna be a lot of men hesitating. It's gonna be a lot of men hesitating. And the gorilla, all he gotta do is, exert his dominance and instill fear in a group of men, instill a lot of fear in them. They're gonna run it, they're gonna scatter like ants, they're gonna scatter like roaches. There's no contest, they're gonna scatter like roaches. Now I've seen certain content creators, they was having their discussion about it, and they said, oh, we all fight it, we're gonna fight it, we're gonna fight that gorilla, we're gonna fight that gorilla. I'll be like, y'all crazy. Ain't no way. Shit, it could call me. First of all, why would I want to put myself in a situation like that? I ain't gonna join those 100 buffoons trying to take on a gorilla. That gorilla didn't me nothing. I'm leaving the gorilla alone. Shucks. Heck yeah, I'm leaving that gorilla alone. But yeah, that's been a talk, on the internet. But yeah, that gorilla, man, he easily could dominate those men. I don't care if it's like the article said, if even 10 guys was to rush that gorilla, he gonna tear a few of them apart. And all he gotta do is throw them against each other. It's gonna be utter chaos. Straight up. It's gonna be utter chaos. Yes, indeed. But that's my thoughts about it. You know, that's my thoughts about it. I see the gorilla takes it. Like they might injure the gorilla. They could subdue the gorilla. I'm not underestimating the 100 men. They could subdue them. Like I said, the only way they could defeat the gorilla, it's gonna be a lot of casualties. Real talk. They have to suffocate him. They have to pile up on him. Like some guys will have to pluck his eyes out, trying to pluck his eyes out, trying to cut off his breathing. But in reality, the gorilla, he gonna dominate those men. Even if it's trained soldiers, let's say it was 100 Marines, they'll probably have a superior chance if it's 100 Marines, unarmed Marines. But even they still gonna have casualties. I don't care how well trained it is. Let's say it was 100 Navy SEALs, trained Navy SEALs. They still gonna have casualties. Come on now. If these so-called special forces be hunting creatures in the forest, cryptids, and we talking about cryptids, if they didn't have them guns hunting cryptids, them cryptids will rip them apart. Hey, them dogmen and Bigfoot still be ripping them special forces soldiers apart with their guns and equipment. If we can't defeat nature without weapons, what makes us think we could take on these cryptids or these supernatural beings without weapons, But that's another topic for another day, But yeah, that gorilla, my money is on a gorilla, because we know what they could do. Come on now. They could lift a lot. They could lift damn near a ton, and every gorilla is different. Every gorilla is different. And the only way I say they have a chance, they have to wait for the gorilla to tire down, because they could tire easily. Gorilla, that's one of the weaknesses about the gorilla. They can't run for too long. They can only run in short bursts. If you ever watch a video when gorillas run, they don't run long distance. They run like in short bursts. So that's one of the big advantage the men got against the gorilla. They could easily overpower when the gorilla tires out, because the gorilla, he tires easily. So they have to wait till the gorilla get tired so they could overwhelm him. But that's not going to even be easy, because the gorilla, he's going to be biting and clawing at the guys and trying to throw them off them. Now, y'all talking about a gorilla. I'm surprised they say 100 men versus a bear. Shit, that bear definitely winning. Ain't no 100 men going to be able to beat no grizzly bear. I'm sorry. I don't care. Maybe a black bear, but a grizzly bear or a Kodiak bear or a polar bear? Shit. Man, all it takes for that bear to stand up on his hind legs and roar. Just the infrasound from that bear roar going to have those men trembling in fear. Because just imagine you seeing a bear roaring close to close, roaring. That's going to shake it's going to shake that vibration from the infrasound coming from that bear's roar. It's going to have your bones trembling. That's with any type of powerful roar, even when a lion or tiger roar. Straight up. So you could imagine. Now you heard it from here. I'm surprised they ain't gonna come out with that one. 100 men versus a bear. Now that bear definitely gonna win. They ain't gonna, man. Come on now, bear got sharp claws, sharp teeth, and super strength too. Ain't no 100 men gonna overpower no fully grown grizzly bear or Kodiak bear, let alone a polar bear, because the polar bear is the biggest of the bears. That's the biggest of the bear species now. Good thing we don't got rune bears like those big bears on the video game Elden Ring, them big old rune bears. You're going to need an army to take that out. An army of average men to take out a rune bear. Unless you're a superhuman warrior. But other than that, yes, indeed. Because you had a lot of people talk about, our ancestors hunted like woolly mammoths. Yeah, that was a different time period. We talking about now. And they had weapons and spears and arrows. They didn't go hunt no woolly mammoth with their bare hands. They had weapons and tools. They know better not to go try to take on woolly mammoth in the prehistoric times without their weapons and tools. Come on now. So that disqualified argument talking about our ancestors, humanity hunted. Yeah, I know they did. You know, you probably had certain tribes tame dinosaurs back then. You know, I won't be surprised you had ancient prehistoric African tribes riding on velociraptors and taming triceratops. That'd be cool. You know, we don't know. Only the Most High knows. I'm just saying. But yeah, like I said, the gorilla takes it, in my opinion. Y'all, whoever come across this video, y'all have a right to, you know, voice your opinion. But like I said, the gorilla takes it 7 out of 10. I see maybe 3 times out of no, I take it back. 8 times out of 10 the gorilla wins. 2 times out of 10 the men have a chance. I see like 8 out of 10 times the gorilla win the battle, in my opinion. But 2 chances that the 100 men could beat the gorilla. But it's gonna be casualties on each result. It's gonna be casualties for the men on each result. It's gonna be between 50 to 70. It might be more in reality. I'm just saying. But yeah, that's my thoughts about the 100 men versus a gorilla topic. You know. So I'm probably gonna go ahead and wrap this up. I put this stream together. I said I gotta talk about this. You know, I gotta discuss this. You know, because everybody talking about it and stuff. I said, let me put my thoughts about it. You know, the 100 men versus the gorilla. But yeah, I hope all is well with y'all. You know, on this Sunday afternoon, May 4th of 2025, man. We in May already. I mean, shucks. Yes, indeed. But I'm gonna go ahead and get off of here and enjoy the rest of my Sunday evening. Hope y'all have a blessed one. I'll catch y'all on the next one. I don't know. I might go live later on. It all depends. You know, all depends. I mean, so much stuff going on. I mean, a lot of and it's sad to see that UPS laying off 20,000 workers, man. That's I don't like seeing news like that. To be honest, real talk. Seeing people lose their job. I'm talking about dedicated, hardworking people that been on these companies for like 10 years, 20 years. And that's devastating news for people, anybody here. You can imagine you working at a job, you loyal to a job for 20 years, 15 years. You got some people that was be loyal to a job for 30, 40 years and getting laid off. Man, that's devastating. That's gut-crushing news. Nobody want to hear that. Nobody want to be called into the office and hear those dreadful words. I'm sorry, Mr. Tom. I'm sorry, Mrs. Mindy. I know you've been an asset to the company for 25 years, but we got to let you go. You know, got to cut costs. Yeah. So hopefully UPS, they bounce back. They will. They will. Because UPS is part of American history. It's an American household name. A lot of these is a corporation. I mean, we've been seeing UPS trucks since I was a child. These brown UPS trucks. You know, that's their trademark color, brown and gold. What brown can do for you. Real talk. Yes, indeed. But yeah, the gorilla takes it 8 out of 10. The men have a chance 2 out of 10 to win the battle. But I'm gonna go ahead and sign off, man. Y'all have a blessed evening. We're gonna go ahead and get off of here. You know, I might upload a few videos. It all depends. It all depends. But like I said, you know, this YouTube stuff been slowing down. You know, I don't get a lot of, I guess because, you know, one thing about YouTube, when you take a break from doing content, they don't promote you. Whether you do content or not, it's up to YouTube to promote your channel. And they don't promote my channel, YouTube. So it is what it is. It's not really the people. The people have a play to doing it, but it's mostly YouTube. If they don't, I guess you see what YouTube does, they review your content. And if they don't like how you deliver your content, they don't promote your channel. That's why I say it's just a dirty game, YouTube. And then people talk about going to Rumble. I found out about Rumble, man. It's no holds barred. You got a lot of racist channels on Rumble. It's like Reddit 2.0 Reddit, you know. But I'm eventually gonna check out Rumble though. You know, they say they let you go say anything you want on Rumble. That's how YouTube used to be back in the day, like right back in the 2010s, like between 2010 to 2015 to 17. Yeah, YouTube, man, used to be no holds barred. And that's when Google brought them out and they started coming with all these policies. And now you got to walk on eggshells on this platform. You know, and that's what's turning a lot of people away. But I know Rumble been out for like what 2-3 years. Rumble been out for, but most people, man, they gonna be on YouTube because that's all they know. That's with any type of social media. Most people they gonna gravitate towards YouTube because they know it's the mainstream and it's the forefront. Well, all right, I'm gonna go ahead and get off of here. Catch y'all on the next one.